Hello, what's up? Welcome to my channel. I never know how to start my videos, so I just starting randomly like that. Last week I had a chance of making a track. It's just pretty much a track by accident, and I'm gonna explain you what I mean by track by accident. Mainly, I love those tracks that when I sit down to make, I never have any idea what's the track gonna be. I just randomly go through sounds, usually breaks, and then things just start happening. Things that start happening by me just playing around with ideas and sounds and just experimenting stuff, and then voila, you've got a track at the end. As I've mentioned in the past videos, I'm making a break from making jungle, and I'm coming back to something I was doing for most of my life, leaning towards more experimental, a little bit more melodic stuff, but it borrows some elements from drum and bass and jungle. So I'm not gonna talk this time too much about anything random, and I'm just gonna show you how I made the track and what my thought process behind it was. I always start tracks with breaks. Well, not always, but 99% of the time, I always start my tracks with breaks. I use SoundForge for that. I basically use SoundForge a lot when it comes to sample preparation and stuff. And it's a very old version. I mean, I think when I just had my computer in late 90s, I started using SoundForge, and I'm still using the same version, and I'm still using the same workflow. So I always start with trying to find a nice break. I've got like thousands of breaks, many folders in my folder, and for this particular track I went to a folder where I have like hundreds of first generation breaks. First generation breaks means that like the original break that comes from like the original track. There are second generation breaks and third generation breaks. Well, the second generation break basically means that it was originally sampled from like the original track by a hip-hop artist and stuff, and then it had like additional processing done, and then it was like sampled by, let's say, a drum and bass artist and stuff. So I like the first generation breaks because they have the most organic feel to it. So for example, I'm having this samples folder with 90 samples and breaks. Yeah, nice ones. So I ended up choosing this break. And since I didn't want it to be like a hip-hop track or so, I just sped it up. And also I knew that I was gonna use another break as well, so I've got this James Brown Soul Fried break. So I chopped it into a lot of different phrases, chops basically. And what I did next is, while I normally, like for the past 4 years, while using the Akai sampler for making jungle, I'm using MIDI to program my breaks. This time I wanted to get back to Fruity Loops, because Fruity Loops, like since the very day one when I had my computer, in the mid to late 90s, and I had the very first version of Fruity Loops, I've used it straight away for making my breaks, programming my breaks. I don't use Fruity Loops for making full tracks. I don't know how to do that. I don't feel comfortable, but what I feel comfortable about is programming breaks. I feel that, well, I've been doing this for like 20 years. A lot of my earlier stuff, the drums on my tracks were always programmed on Fruity Loops, because I find it pretty flexible when it comes to, you know, getting my drums to sound a little bit more complex, because I like the complexities in my drums for some reason. In this case, I'm using 8 patterns of drum programming, and every pattern has 2 bars. So in total I have 16 bars of breaks. So basically you can do a lot of manipulations that I'm very comfortable with. And then I exported this break twice. I knew that I'm gonna be using one as is, and the second one I'm gonna add lots of twisting and mangling to make it sound more complex. I keep repeating this word. Yeah, break one, just as it is. And on a break two, I start adding, I do all this in SoundForge manually. I just pitch some stuff up, some down. I add time stretch, some reverb, reverse, and I get something like this. I did the same with the Soul Pride break. I programmed it in Fruity Loops, and I ended up with this sort of pattern. So this is the clean one, and this is the more experimental one. You get the idea. And once I have all the drums done, I opened up Reason 12 because, as I mentioned before, I feel quite comfortable working in Reason environment. And so what I started with was just the break. I just put the break on the timeline and I had it like that. I knew straight away that I was gonna start it with the bass as well. And for the bass, I already knew that I was gonna use this plugin. It's the Legion. So I then thought that I might need some sort of maybe background sounds and stuff. So I went to a folder with my field recordings that I've recorded over the years with my portable recorder. And I found my recordings of my son talking. I think he was about 4 years at the time. So I've used his voice.
Как? Ай, как ветрик.
So right about now, it might start sounding a little bit like something I fixed Twin would have done, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even have like a slightest idea to sound like Aphex Twin. But since I've done a lot of experimental stuff in the past 20 years, which came from an inspiration from like listening to Aphex Twin, so I guess I already like moving in this direction kind of unconsciously. I don't know. So after the 16 bars, I decided to introduce a bit of change. I added this shaker. I've also added another melody. 16 bars later, I decided to switch things up completely. And to give it even more groove, I'm using this GV1080 plugin by Roland and only using the percussion like hi-hats, because I wanted to add these hi-hats. And I've also decided that I wanted to add another rhythm, which is basically me quickly jamming the break on the Behringer 8 machine and recording straight into the Reason, and then after layering all these sounds you get. I'm gonna leave you with the full track, and as always, leave a comment, tell me what you think, do you like it or not, and see you on the next video. Bye.